What's up, creeps? I'm Exorcist.
And I'm Boo.
And we are Scurred. So, we left off last time with the Blackwell Ghost documentary, paranormal documentary. We watched the first one. We had mentioned that we're going to watch the other four, or we had watched four. We had one more to go. So, a total of 5 different documentaries in this segment. Each one was unique and different in its own way. But in this particular episode, we're going to talk about number 2. The Blackwell Ghost Part 2. Or number 2. They call it Part 2. So let's go over it. We talked a little bit about the type of it. Let's just jump right in. We know that number 1 left off with a little bit of a cliffhanger, but it left it wide open for the sequel. Here's the sequel. What did we see coming? Basically, the transition from 1 to 2.
It was a lot of basically people didn't buy what he was selling, and he wanted to prove them wrong.
Yeah, he was. The whole premise is this real or is this fake? And there were a lot of people like, well, he says it's real, but we think it's fake. So they're on Facebook, they're on social media, and they're going, no, that didn't happen. That's bullcrap, blah, 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 blah. So in this episode, this part of the series, he kind of comes back and he's like, I don't care if you believe me or not, but I'm going back to this house because there's still something there. And they actually caught a clip, and I'm going to see if I can plug it in here into the video at this section. But they caught a clip at the end of the first one, beginning of the second one, when he was down in the basement of this figure standing there. Do you remember the figure?
I do remember the figure. I think it took me probably a good 10 minutes of just sitting there looking before I saw it. We had to replay it several times. But when I did see it, I was very surprised.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Is that Ruth Blackwell? We don't know. Nobody really knows. But it was enough to make him go, I do need to go back. His wife isn't jumping on board this time. She's not like, yeah, I'm going to come with you. So he goes and he decides to go by himself. Brave?
Definitely. I would not be in that house alone.
Yeah, I think after we saw what happened the first time around and the beginning of the second one, going by yourself is kind of a tall order. So the plot is he goes back, he finds more information, and one of the big parts of this movie is that somebody that actually knew Miss Blackwell reaches out to him, and they have a box of evidence, if you would. They have a CD with like a map on it, which is a crucial key piece to something they find. Do you remember what else was in the box? Was there anything in the box?
There was actually a picture of the woman when she was young and Miss Blackwell. In the same picture, they kind of talked about why she's in that picture. She wasn't part of their family. And then there was a whole box that they had incinerated mold that we didn't get to see what was in.
Yeah, so there was a lot of stuff inside of it, and I'm sure that, they lost a bunch and we lost some crucial pieces. But we still had enough. We had enough to go back to the house. We had enough to go see him go back to the house and want to reach out and, see what was going on with a little more detail. And that's where the plot jumps in and it gets to be pretty interesting. I want to switch to jump scares real quick because I felt like this one had more jump scares than the first one, and overall better quality jump scares. I mean, it's not just a chandelier swinging. There's stuff that's like flying and tipping and throwing.
Randomly, right.
So I think the jump scares were better. Your thoughts?
They definitely were better. Especially for going in there not even knowing if anything was actually going to happen. The jump scares weren't bad. I was definitely scared at some points because I didn't expect it to happen, and then it did.
Yeah. There were a couple scary parts where it caught you a little bit off guard, and definitely happens. Let's shift. You know, we determined that there are some good jump scares. It was a decent story. There were some interesting parts. But I want to go to the ending and overall approval. So again, here on Scurred, we don't provide spoilers, so we're not going to blow anything for you. But there was one really big find in this installment of the Blackwell Ghost. And I'm kind of disappointed because, in my opinion, it was like a rabbit hole to nowhere.
Right.
You're not going to even say anything else. Like, I know it's hard to say anything.
I was very disappointed. I really thought that it was going somewhere, like maybe he would tell people about this and we would figure out what happened, even if he just mentioned it in the next movie. But we were kind of at a loss. We, had this huge crucial find that was very important, and we know nothing about it.
Yeah, and having watched the third one after we watched the second one, we can confirm the big discovery doesn't show up in part 3, and there's not another mention of it. It's actually a completely different story arc.
Completely, not even related.
Yeah, with the exception of he's trying to find the same stuff, same guy, but completely different location. Not the Blackwell Ghost. Yeah, different state entirely. It goes down to Florida, which you can catch in the next videos. Let's go to overall Scurred. Now we have a Scurred meter on the website, uscurred.com. You can check out what all of the numbers mean. But on a rough scale of 1 to 10, 1 being ain't Scurred, all the way up to 10 being Scurred. Like, holy crap, Scurred. What do you think you'd give it?
Let's see. I gave the first one a 2.5. It was definitely scarier than the first one. So I'm going to have to go with a 3. Okay. Probably a 3.
Yeah, I think 3 is pretty good. Maybe there's parts with the jump scares included where it might hit a 3.5. But generally, I think 3 is pretty solid. Good content. Were you Scurred?
There were points where I was Scurred, but overall, I was able to sleep, so I was not Scurred.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, the first episode, we were both very able to quickly say, we're not Scurred. And this one, I wasn't Scurred, but there were some good scurry parts to it. Would you recommend the Blackwell Ghost Part 2 to people to watch?
I would absolutely recommend this movie. I think that anybody looking for horror films, that is a very good movie.
Okay. Yeah, it keeps your attention and it's pretty good. I would also recommend it. I'd recommend the entire series. And the shameless pitch is, if you're on uscurred.com, right below the video here or next to the video, you can actually see the Amazon link where you can click in and rent it or buy it. And every time you do that, that helps this page a little bit and helps continue our videos as well. That on top of like, subscribe, bookmark, whatever you people all do on every site that we're on, just make sure you hit that button. And if you do it right now, please. Big stuff coming up. We still have a lot of movies to go through. In this particular series, we'll make a playlist, but we still have 3 more Blackwell Ghost movies to go through. So we encourage you to stick around. I think we're going to have a lot of fun together, creeps, as we go through the next 3 films. And by the way, there's probably going to be another one. Spoiler.
Probably not until next year.
Right, yeah, we won't see it for a while. So to be continued is the theme of the Blackwell Ghost, and that's the theme here on Scurred as well. So, I'm Exorcist.
And I'm Boo.
And we hope you'll join us again, creeps. Until then,
sleep tight.